right, everyone.
All right. You're comfortable with everything. You want to get a shot before we go? What do you want to do?
Go ahead with it.
All right. I'm going to call you by your first name. If that's all right.
That's fine.
3, 2, 1. I'm here today with Pastor Deshan from Sri Lanka. He pastors in Colombo, also the General Superintendent of the nation of Sri Lanka. Wanted to visit with him about the language that we're working on for the Fire Bible for Sri Lanka. So welcome, Pastor.
Thank
We're
you.
delighted to have you today. Thank you for coming and sharing these few moments with us. Before we get into the discussion of the Fire Bible that you're working on and leading the project for, tell us a little about Sri Lanka, Colombo specifically, some of the challenges of the national church.
Well, Sri Lanka, as you know, has been through a almost 30-year civil war, terrorist war actually, and well, 3 years ago, the war was finally over. The guns were silenced, the bloodshed stopped, and now it's a whole rebuilding process. Unofficially, they say close to 100,000 people were killed. Officially, it's less than that, but somewhere a big amount. And the church in Sri Lanka has been through a lot of persecution. In the last few years, there's been extremists, like in any country, any religion, extremists who have come against the church and are trying to stop the growth and trying to stop the good news from being spread. So Sinhalese, we have 3 languages actually. Sinhala, which are spoken by the Sinhalese, Tamil, by the Tamils, and there's English, which is a minority. So Tamil we get from India, right? But the majority, 70% of the Sinhala speaking, because the whole country is about 20 million people, it's a very small percentage, so we don't get any kind of materials for Bible studies or biblical stuff. That's one of the reasons that we are happy to see the Fire Bible come to Sri Lanka. Amidst this persecution, in the last few months, we've closed about 8 churches down, Assemblies of God, because threats and death threats, and so lots of things going on.
Yes. So with the persecution has also come the spread of the gospel, and you're, as you said, in desperate need of study materials for your pastors and church leaders. So what is the mood, the feelings among your pastors and national leaders as they anticipate the completion of the Fire Bible for your people?
Well, like you said, there is a big need in the country. You're seeing a good side of it. The good side of it is that we have pastors, young pastors, their young families in bad areas who are starting up their churches, Sunday going to services knowing that they can get burnt down, beaten, some even get killed. We've seen a couple of pastors who have already been killed over the years. But I told one pastor, why don't you come to the city? Why don't you get away from the trouble? And he looked at me and he said, Pastor, if this gospel is good enough to live by, it's good enough to die by. So, as a leader, it really encourages me to see the quality. Sometimes pastors are accused of doing things for money and handouts, and people ridicule some of them. But I'll tell you, the commitment level is incredible. The Fire Bible, why it's so exciting to our country is Sinhala, like you said, is only spoken in Sri Lanka with a few expats around the world. We don't have any good tool like this. So the Fire Bible coming out where we can give it to our workers and pastors and they can have everything in this one book, which will assist them, is an incredible blessing.
So you see this as a tool that is necessary for the propagation of the gospel in Sri Lanka?
Well, it's a tool long overdue coming, because there's been nothing for years. Years ago, when I was a student in the 80s, I was talking about something like this. I had no idea that I'd go full circle and then see the reality of the Fire Bible going to be in our language, in Sinhala, which is incredible. Because see, Tamil we can get from India, and English you can get from anywhere, but Sinhala is just unique. And a lot of people don't want to invest or put money for something like that, because marketing-wise, it's just one little country. But kingdom-wise, I want to tell you, it's an incredible breakthrough.
Well, I know there's a spiritual move in your country, and I know that your church, your national church, will someday do even more towards world evangelism. And so as we prepare this study tool for your pastors and for your leaders, we know that we're advancing the kingdom not only in Sri Lanka, but literally around the world.
That's right.
As we conclude this interview, I would like for you to look into the camera and tell the people of America what you need. How do we help you get this Bible? What are the needs? Just talk to the people in these last few moments.
Well, what we need is, we're a country that hasn't had permanent missionaries for over 50 years. When the Assemblies of God pulled out a long time ago, the government stopped all the visas. But we thank God for all these long-term missionaries who would come. They'll come on tourist visas. They will do whatever they could to help us. And now they're coming out with a tool that we can invest in people, so it can be multiplied. And we have works growing all over. We started with at one time when the missionaries left, it was 6 or 7 churches. Today we have 400 plus Assembly of God churches with over 1,500 preaching points everywhere. No tools, right? We have one Bible college, and so what we would like you to do is to get behind us, help us to get this tool into our hands. We need finances to come to the Fire Bible, and then they work with us, and they are able to then work the process. They got our officers aligned and accountable, and everything is working actually to the timelines that are given, which is amazing for third world country like ours. But thanks to the Fire Bible organization, our missionary Trent Gabbard, Pastor Michael Disanaika, my predecessor, they've all got together and they're pushing this through, and we are 100% behind it. Stand with us, because you won't be sorry. Sri Lanka is going to be a nation that is being called a nation that serves Jesus Christ.
One last question for you, Pastor. The Fire Bible organization is led by missionary Jeffrey Dove. We also have missionaries like Delton Watts and others who have taken interest to accelerate the completion of this Bible. What would you like to say about or to Reverend Dove and Brother Watts and their involvement with you and the National Church?
Oh, look here.
Yes, please.
What I want to say is a big thank you from the bottom of my heart, coming from a nation that is supposedly not even 1% born again. We are 99% not born again. We have 2% Christians by name. And your love and your compassion for nations like ours really encourages us to stay there and to fight and to even give our lives, because we know that people like you are getting behind us, equipping us so that we can fight till the last in this last day ministry, which is going to pay off.
Praise God.
Amen.